Parkour!
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG. I'm your host Aaron, and for today's video we're headed back to the world of last Epoch. Now if you didn't see my video from earlier, EHG dropped a bomb on us, and it is the next 4 cycles coming. 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and 1-4. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it in the description below and at the end of this video. Something that we found out during that news post that coming, I think in June, that's my guess for the next cycle, we are going to be getting a new evade, a dodge roll mechanic. And this is going to be something that's coming to every single mastery, every single class, every single build. It is going to be default on your UI. And as soon as this was announced, there was people on Discord, people in the forums, and mainly Reddit, positive, negative. Basically, there was lots of questions on this new dodge roll evade, and we're going to talk about it right now. We're happy to see all the discussions regarding the new evade mechanic we're planning to include in 1.1. We have noticed that the discussion can be hard to have without the full details about this new mechanic. As such, we're posting a breakdown of the current implementation that we are internally testing here to help with the discussion. And again, when you talk about, this is Mike that made this post, when you talk about setting EHG apart, when was the last game studio that dropped communication and then based upon the community dropped more communication just to make sure everybody understood what's coming? Unbelievable. Evade is a new universal movement ability for characters from level 1. This is a new tool to add into your existing tool belt. We expect this to be a fun new mechanic that opens up new build opportunities and spices up combat. Now, evade does not have a skill tree, okay? Now, it does have scaling tags, which is movement. And I was thinking about clipping it and putting it in here, trying to pat myself on the back, but no, not needed. I can just do that myself. During stream, before this post came out, I said it's really weird that they've always had movement speed or movement and traversal. And it's always been super confusing for people. Wait, is this a movement skill? Is this a traversal skill? What the hell's the difference? And it looks like this is now going to break away from that. A traversal skill will likely be a skill that actually has a skill tree attached to it, where evade and just strictly movement and haste and things that make you run faster will be a movement skill. And that is what we are seeing with evade. So it's just going to be a lot easier to understand. Rapidly move in a short distance forwards. Evading does not grant damage immunity or prevent abilities from hitting you. Evade grants 0.5% increased cooldown recovery speed per character level. So you'll be able to evade more often based upon what level you are. Again, scaling tags movement. So now let's break down the details. No damage immunity. New action button is spacebar by default. I actually use spacebar, so I don't have to change that. Cooldown, 4 seconds with 2 charges, 0.5% increased cooldown recovery speed per level. It is affected by increased cooldown recovery speed stat. At level 100 with 0, 50, and 100 increased cooldown recovery speed, evade has a cooldown of 3, 2, and 1.6 seconds. So at level 100, you're going to get 2 charges with a recovery speed of 1.6. You're going to be using this all the time. Also, as it states right there, if you have any gear that gives you cooldown recovery speed, you're going to be able to get this likely to around a second if you really wanted to. That's my guess. And you can still have a traversal skill. So you're going to be able to get 2 movement skills that do not share the same cooldown. That's absolutely awesome. There is no skill, there's no skill tree for this. And this part is awesome. Evade may have triggers or other mechanics tied to them through items or other skill/passive trees, and possibly new sources in the future too. So that means that this is really going as a core mechanic. You're going to see skill tree nodes that might boost your evade. You're going to see passive nodes, which I'm guessing when it comes to threshold nodes, you know, like 5 points into this passive tree, you get something. You're going to see those bonuses for evade and on items as well. Maybe an endless evade, or evade, since it actually doesn't do anything for damage immunity, maybe those nodes will, after an evade, you get armor or block or, I don't know, glancing blow, something like that. Be very cool. Increased travel speed, but not distance with increased movement speed stat. Haste that does affect this. Distance is roughly 80% of Rogue's dash. So that means that with the tooltip, looking at movement here, You're not going to roll farther. You're just going to roll quicker. So if you're on a build that has haste or has high movement speed, your roll's going to be instantaneous. Very, very cool. And you see it right here next to mana on the UI. Now, before we go into design intention, you probably want to see what it looks like. It literally looks like every other roll in every other damn game. Here it is. This is a level 52 Shaman. I don't know what it is. Shaman playing, killing some scorpions and rolling around. It's probably a Beastmaster. See the nice little roll there? Remember, 2 charges at level 100, 1.6% or 1.6 second cooldown. And this is really going to change things. It's like, oh, who cares? No. The reason why everybody is so kind of up in arms about this is it has been default. You have 5 skills. One of those skills is a movement skill inside of last Epoch. This will change most, not every, most builds going forward. Because, especially if there's nodes and different ways to buff this, you might not need a traversal skill anymore. People like zoom, so you'll probably still take one. But the point is, before it was required, and now it might not be. All right, we're almost done. Design intention, and then we're going to talk about this final paragraph here, which really solidifies why they did this. We are constantly working to improve the underlying gameplay systems. This is a feature that we have considered for years. In the past, we've gone as far as to prototype it, but the game wasn't quite ready for it yet. Our intention for this version of the focused around fun and feel. Evade brings a bump to the battlefield mobility that enables new playstyles to flourish. With this mix of cooldown duration, charges, speed, and need to use, we feel that Evade is usually available when you want it, and you aren't just using it on cooldown. Every time I see Evade, we just played so much Torchlight that I immediately think of survivability. One of the goals of this new evade ability is to make traversal skills feel less of a necessity and more of a build decision. We expect that a majority of builds will still use the traversal ability alongside evade. This new option will open up some new builds that were previously too clunky to shine due to the limited battlefield repositioning. You could do, for example, pure summoning builds. I've got one of those I just made. Or maybe a shapeshifter form that needs a little extra mobility. Okay, my boy, Quiet. I think they put that in there for you. I think Mike put that in there for you. Quiet. Shapeshift form that needs a little extra mobility. Spriggan, you guys know what I'm talking about. Quiet, you kind of got a movement skill. All right, this video is way too long than it should be. Here is the reason. All that other stuff is good. This is the reason we got this, whether they'll come out and say it or not. We also want to have the freedom to design harder and more dynamic boss encounters. Some new boss mechanics could easily benefit from being able to get out of danger quickly. In the past, most players take a traversal ability. However, not all do. This means that we have not been able to design encounters with abilities too strongly encourage a movement burst, as it would force players to take a traversal ability in their limited ability loadout. Adding evade allows us to design encounters knowing that all characters have access to move out of danger quickly. This does not mean that every fight will exclusively focus on a fast reaction one-shot mechanic. This is another tool that we will use to make new styles of boss fights. The degree in which evade is encouraged to use on the boss fights will be varied to fit the mechanics that are for that individual fight. While we're finding many previously designed encounters that do benefit from this new mechanic, we will continue to update previous encounters with slight mechanical updates that may benefit from the use of evade if it fits a particular boss encounter. They are putting in Harbinger bosses in a new Pinnacle fight. They cannot force you to use a traversal skill, even though they know most people do. Just like how you enter a dungeon, you have to use that ability to create it. You don't have to pick that skill. They had to put evade in the game because you have to use evade on the new Pinnacle fight. We know that it's going to have phases. We know that it's going to require skill, which means it'll likely have one-shot mechanics. That is why we are getting evade. All this other stuff, yes, but ultimately that is that. They want to design boss encounters that are challenging and tough and fun and require skill. And now they have a movement skill available to everyone for those encounters. That's the video. I want to know your opinion. Are you happy about this? Are you excited that we are getting double movement skills? Or is it another button to press? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Check out my video that I put out earlier if you didn't get a chance to see it. Tomorrow is V Rising 1.0. We're going to be playing some V Rising. And any last minute Patreons out there, we have a Patreon action RPG server. And if you're not a Patreon, you should check it out. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.